Hey, my name is Laura Hester and I'm a reading coach here at Snyder Primary. And I'm really doing this video because just to help you guys out at home during this time and to kind of give you heads up about your level. If your child is either 2R, white, or black, or beyond that, you're really focusing on the comprehension aspects of reading. After all, the kids know how to read, they can call words. But the object of reading really is not just to call words, it is more about understanding or making a connection to that reading. So we're going to go over some things that you would find helpful, I think you'll find helpful, in helping your student become a more polished and forever reader, because that's our goal. So our anchor chart today is to kind of help you understand where we're headed with 2R, whites, and blacks. So we're in comprehension. Comprehension, of course, means understanding of a written word. So there are several categories under comprehension that are important, but we're going to go over 4 main portions of it, plus an added benefit. So we're going to talk about, to begin with, word attack strategies. Word attack strategies, simply put, are ways that a child decodes an unknown word. There are 5 basic ways to do that. The first, word attack, simply means chunking. So I have 2 words, celebration and government. So looking at the word, if a child had difficulty understanding that suffix of meant, what we would ask the kids to do is to cover up and look for a part of the word that they would understand. So they would get government, that this green rectangle represents the understanding that the child has. And a lot of times they're able to decode that word after breaking it down or chunking. Celebration, I chose to use the opposite end. In celebration, the known part might be the suffix tion. So in this case, we'd cover up the tion and work on the beginning portion of it. And they would see celebration. And that helps them to decode the word. So that's the first one, is called chunking. The second one, very commonly used, is using the context. And what that actually means is we use the words before an unknown word or a word after the unknown word in order to help decipher that unknown word. Another way is to use the visual support. If there happen to be. Now in chapter books like Shiloh, there aren't any pictures. So, but in some readers, there will be pictures. And that will help the student figure out that unknown word. Substituting is another way. A child may try a different word there to see if it makes sense. And the last way, and the way I really do not prefer for children at this age, at this stage, is sounding it out or using the phonemic awareness, the phonics skills. So in this word, allergic, I've coded it to where a child would understand that that A is the schwa sound, followed by a bossy R, followed by the second sound of G with the short I sound. In other words, allergic. So those are just some word attack skills that help children, instead of you just supplying the word. They have to work through that word just as we do as adults. The second category that we want to approach is fluency. Now, fluency is very important to comprehension. A student who struggles every other word in a passage or in a sentence, that is a general idea that that book is far too hard for them. So for example, in Shiloh, I'm going to read as a student with fluency versus a student who does not have fluency. Haven't had a possum dinner for some time. Dog's okay, Dad asked. I know he's asking for me. Lean and mean, says Judd. Keep 'em half starved and they'll hunt far better. Gotta keep them healthy though, or you won't have them long, Dad says. I know he's saying this for me too. That's a child with fluency. Now let's look at one who might have trouble. Haven't had me a possum dinner for some time. Dog's okay? Dad asks, and I know he's asking for me. Lean, and mean, says Judd. Keep 'em half starved, and they'll hunt better. So in that, the child, number one, is the reading isn't so hard for them, but the fluency isn't there, which means that this level of book is probably above their head. So they should read something a little easier for them. The next category we want to address has to do with vocabulary. Now, vocabulary is probably the single most important part and sort of encapsulates all of this, because vocabulary is the issue of whether you understand something for comprehension or if you're just calling words. So let's go back to these words. Allergic. Just because a kid calls the word allergic does not necessarily mean that that child understands the word meaning of that. So a good option for you to make sure your child is comprehending is to ask, what does that mean? When you ask a child, what does that mean? Then you're forcing that child to tell you what they really know. Celebration. If you ask a child, what does celebration mean? And they say, it's like a party. Yes, a celebration is like a party. And so that child can understand the different meanings of celebration. Well, what about government? And what if a kid said, it's the person who runs Pizza Hut? No, that's not government. So that child obviously can call the word, but doesn't understand the word meaning. And in order to comprehend, he has to, or she, would have to go back and work on this. That's where you'd have to come in to help them, guide them to find the meaning and understanding of this word. So our next category is prosody. And prosody is a wonderful, overlooked skill for comprehension. A child who reads with prosody reads with character. And it's not just character, but it's pace and rhythm, and pays attention to how the author marked using end marks or periods or quotations. So I'm going to give you an excerpt of how prosody should sound. And this is from my interpretation. Good boy, Shiloh, I whispered and stroked him all over. I hear the back screen slam and Dad comes out on the stoop. Marty? Yeah? I go around, Shiloh at my heels. Let's take that dog home now. Dad goes over and opens the door of the Jeep. Shiloh puts his tail between his legs and just stands there. So I go around to the other side and get in and whistle. Shiloh leaps up in my lap, but he don't look too happy about it. For the first time I have my arms around him, he feels warm. And when I stroke him, I can feel the places on his body where he has ticks. Dog has ticks, I tell my dad. Judd'll take them off, Dad says. Well, what if he don't? It's his concern, Marty, not yours. It's not your dog. You keep to your own business. I press myself against the back of the seat as we start down the bumpity driveway towards the road. I think I want to be a vet someday, I tell my dad. He says. Yeah, I want to be a traveling vet. The kind that has an office in a van and goes around to people's homes. And don't make folks come to him neither. Read about him in a magazine at school. So that's an example of prosody because I'm interpreting what the author intended. Now the last section of what we're going to talk about is questioning. Questioning becomes the number one most important factor in comprehension, especially for developing readers. This is where you play a vital role in how your child is reading. You must question your child. And here are some simple questions to keep in mind. For example, you might say, what could have happened? Now you're forcing your child to take the text that they just read and boast it to another level. That increases his thinking. How does this relate to you? Making that personal connection. I'm not a dog person, but as I read Shiloh, I feel very sorry for the dog because I make a connection to all animals who are not treated well. It's tender for me. Tell me in your own words. That again makes the child take what he's understood or what he's read and convert it to you. Now you know exactly what your child knows or what he doesn't know. Have you thought? You're causing them to look at the other side of the coin. The art of debate and arguing is very important to a thinking child. The ability to look at both sides of an issue are crucial. What if? That's just fun. What if? What could happen? And I wonder. When you're asking that question, you're just putting the thought in their mind, helping them to guide towards better understanding of the text. When we put all of these elements together, the child moves from just basic calling words to understanding and connecting with the text. It is crucial for every one of us, whether we're beginning reading or we've been reading a very long time, to make that comprehension, to make that move, because that's the understanding, and that's what we're after. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. I have provided resources for you for 2R, white and black, and I hope that those resources will help you guide your student and become a very mature reader. Enjoy reading. See y'all later.